How to make residual income on the internet. Welcome back. Now, I'm a real estate guy, and I've had a home-based business, and I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. So in this episode, I'm going to discuss your question, how to make residual income on the internet. And we're definitely going to do that. Now, many investors, they start out wanting passive income, and in this market today, they're having trouble getting passive income. Why is that? Well, because the rents have gone up, prices have gone up. However, passive income, like you could put money in the bank and get money from interest, well, that's passive income. Problem is the banks are paying less than 1%. So they need to look for other investments that are reoccurring. So the marketplace has changed dramatically. Now, you want a business where you're going to get paid again and again. So I didn't invent this, but I sure put it to work, and I'll show you how to make passive income. In other words, residual income, and you can do the whole process by buying and selling, and you can do that on the internet. So I'm Ted Thomas, and 30 years ago, I discovered a little-known business that's highly lucrative, and it's a subset of the traditional real estate business. Now, what's the traditional real estate business? That's basically homes. Sometimes it's small apartments. It's residential land. It could be small farms. You're kind of getting the idea, but it's mostly homes. A lot of people employed in that business. You have brokers, you have agents, you have title companies, you have attorneys. So millions of people are employed in that. So that's a traditional real estate business. I got involved in a different part of it, and the different part of it is really a subset of the traditional business, and the subset has to do with properties that went into tax default. Now, I completely missed this for many years of my life, but when I discovered this and I figured out that I could go and buy properties from the government for pennies on the dollar and sell for anything I wanted, I knew I wanted to get into that business. So this business is managed by the local governments. It's been around for 200 years. It's called tax liens and tax deeds. In other words, tax deeds is auction properties. Okay, now briefly what took place is the state legislature in all the states in the United States made a law that everybody that owns real estate must pay property taxes. Okay, so they put all those laws into what they call statute books. All right, so that applies to everybody in every county in the United States. Problem is, it doesn't matter that they made the law, everybody doesn't pay. And if they don't pay, what are they going to do about it? So the legislature, when I say they, the legislature now says, all right, we're going to have the county board of supervisors or the county commissioners direct the treasurer to levy the tax, collect the tax, and if they can't collect the tax, then the treasurer is going to put the property in default and they're going to confiscate that property. In other words, they're going to take the property away from the property owner, and then what are they going to do with it? They're just going to sell it, and they sell it for the back taxes. So what did the treasurer do? The treasurer levied the tax, they try to collect the tax. If they couldn't collect the tax, they confiscate the property. In other words, who's ever on the property, they push them off the property, and now they're going to sell that property at a public auction. All right, now that business is a good business. However, the properties aren't all brand new and shiny. Some of them are used and abused. Some of them are junk. Don't buy the junk. And some of them are ready to move into. All right, so the government has seized the property. What are they going to do? They're going to sell it. Well, they want to sell it quickly. So to facilitate that sale, what do? They drop the price. So if the property has a value of, say, $100,000, the treasurer will drop the price 60, 70, 80% because they want to sell it quickly. The treasurer doesn't care what the property sells for. They only care to collect the back taxes. All right, so the treasurer is determined to collect the back taxes. So if they get rid of the property and you buy it for any price of 10 cents, 20 cents, or 30 cents on the dollar, they don't care. All right, so that's what the business is. Now, how do you get residual income from that property? Well, what if you got a property for a 60, 70, 80% discount? That's going to make you very happy, especially when I tell you that the local government, the treasurer, is going to delete the mortgage or the trust deed loan. So now you bought a property 20, 30 cents on the dollar, and there's no loan on the property because it's been deleted. All right. Now, these don't want properties from the county, but entrepreneurs do want these properties because maybe they just need paint or a little cleanup, or maybe they just need cleanup and then resell them. All right, so the whole business is you're going to buy bargain properties and resell them. Well, who are you going to resell them to? Well, you can resell them in all the markets you want. You could use the multiple listing service. You could use Craigslist. You could use eBay. You could use Trulia. You could use Zillow. You're getting the idea. You can sell for anything you want. So if you bought it for 20 cents on the dollar, if it was worth 100, you bought it for 20, you don't have to try to get 100. Why don't you just sell it for 50 or 60 cents on the dollar? So let's say you bought a property for 20 cents on the dollar and you sell it for 60 cents on the dollar. All that profit goes to you. Well, what you could do, you could sell it quickly into the marketplace at that discount. That would help you. You could also go ahead and target people that had poor credit. In other words, people that had poor FICO scores. In other words, they're credit challenged, so they can't go to the bank. The bank is basically going to reject those people. Well, if the bank rejects those people, what are they going to do? Well, I can tell you, if you're willing to sell to those people that don't have the best credit scores, you're not only going to make a profit on the deal, but you're going to make a profit on the financing on a monthly basis. So think about that. Now you've not only made a profit, but you're going to get residual income, and you can get lots of it. All right. Now, what's wrong with getting continuous payments over 5 years or 10 years or as long as you want to do that? The point is, our session today, our episode, is all about how to make residual income on the internet. Well, you could buy these properties on the internet. You could sell these properties on the internet. You could get new clients on the internet. So the point is, you can do this whole thing by using that median, and that's going to make a big difference. Okay, now, where is this happening? It's happening in all 3,000 counties across the United States. Tax defaulted auctions are authorized in all 3,000 plus counties, okay? They're announced on the county website, and they're also put in the newspaper in that local county. Anybody can buy one of these properties. Okay, now the small population counties, they're only going to have a few properties, maybe dozens, that they're going to sell every year. So let's say less than 100 in the small population. But the large population counties, they're going to have hundreds of properties to sell. And what are they selling them for? They're selling them for discounts of 60, 70, and 80%. Now, I don't make any of these rules. These rules are made by the treasurer, the board of supervisors, county commissioner in that county. The county you're living in will have tax defaulted auctions. They're going to sell these properties live auctions. You can go to those and raise your hand, or you can buy them on the internet. Now, I don't know which way your county's going to do it, but more than likely they'll do both. They'll sell online and on the internet today. All right, so the whole business became easier over the past 30 years. Why? Because now everything is on the internet. So now you're talking about buying properties for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, maybe 30 cents on the dollar. Where are you going to sell it? If you want to sell it, you could sell it on eBay. You could sell it on Craigslist. You could sell it on multiple listings, all of those. All right, so these auctions are taking place all the time. Are they all done at one day of the year? No. The auctions are taking place all the time. Now, below me, when I finish, you'll get to see my interactive map and auction calendar, and that shows you when the auctions are taking place. Now, if you're checking now, don't think that 1 month from now the same auctions are going to take place. They're going to have some counties now, different state next month, different state a month after, but they're all going to be doing the same thing. They're all going to be selling properties for 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar. So keep in mind, the auction starts, and it starts at very close to the back taxes. There's no mortgage on any property that you buy. So let's say it's a property that the tax assessors has a value of $100,000. The auction might start for only $5,000, the back taxes. Now, savvy local investors that know what they're doing, or investors who know how to do it online, will evaluate the property. So let's say they don't think it's worth 100. Maybe they think it's only worth 80. So let's say the property's only worth 80 as far as they're concerned. Well, now they go to the auction. The starting bid was $5,000. What if they spend $30,000? Well, they spent $30,000, so they still got a great deal. They got a property for $30,000. It's worth $80,000. So follow along in the graphics, and you can see all that. Now, they made a nice deal. The treasurer could care less because the treasurer has their money. Now the property's going to go from from a default list onto the regular tax roll, so the treasurer is happy. You're happy too, because you own a property for 20, 30 cents on the dollar. You can sell for anything that you want to sell that property for. So let's say that you decide to sell that property for a price of say, $80,000. All right? So you can use all the sources I talked about, from Zillow to the MLS to Craigslist or whatever. So let's say you sell that property, and now you can sell it and say that you'll accept installment payments. Now, wouldn't that work out good? Now you could get installment payments for 5 years or 10 years, and all the people at a credit challenge are going to call you. Now, do you have a higher risk? Yes, you get a little bit more risk. However, you don't pass the title to them. You keep the title when you do an installment sale. So you're getting the idea. If you do an installment sale, you're going to get payments. You'll make all your money when you sell it. Okay, you make a lot of money when you sell it, and you'll make more money on the payments. So what do we cover today? We talked about how to make residual income on the internet, and that can be done with this business all day long. Now, my name's Ted Thomas. I've been involved in this business for over 30 years. Now, right below me is an interactive map and auction calendar. If you'd like to have an auction list for the county near you, well, you can go to tedthomas.com/free auction list, and that's all depicted right below me, okay? So you're just going to go to Ted Thomas free auction list, and we'll send you one of those so you can see what it is. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you in the next video.